If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, there are things you need to know that might cause your deal to fall apart. This applies whether you're a buyer or a seller, and I'm going to break down these top things to show you and help you prevent it from happening again, whether you're buying or selling. So welcome to the Wilton Report. I'm Josh Wilton. I co-own and run the #1 boutique brokerage in real estate in Central New Jersey and Princeton. And we've helped thousands of people buy and sell real estate locally. And we use that experience to help you make better buying and selling decisions. So the first thing I will tell you, and we're going to count down backwards, is trees. Everybody loves trees, right? But you don't like trees close to your house. And there's multiple reasons why. So the first one is insurance companies will flag trees that have branches hanging over the house or are too close to the house. And here's how this works. And it's a little counterintuitive. You buy a house, right? And you close on the house and you move in. So you've taken possession and the deed from the seller. So what happens is the insurance company generally doesn't inspect the house until after you move in. So you could be there 30, 60 days, get a letter in the mail from your insurance company that says, hey, look, congrats. But you see those trees outside your house, you have to cut them down or you have to back them up. And tree work isn't inexpensive. And in a lot of towns, it takes permits. And the insurance companies will say, look, if you don't do this, we're going to cancel your insurance. Like it's that binary. So although everyone loves trees, having them too close to the house can be a problem. So buyers, just keep an eye at it when you're doing a home inspection. And sellers, cut them back. Like if you're thinking of selling next year, do a pre-inspection on your house and cut the trees back. It probably is going to be a problem with how tight the insurance market is. Number 10, radon. So what is radon? There's a lot of hubbub about radon. People moving from out of the East Coast to the East Coast don't even know what it is. It seems to be specific to this area. So radon's an invisible gas that can seep into a home from the ground. And if it builds up indoors over many years, it can increase the rate of lung cancer. So if you ever hear about those people who non-smoker and then bam, lung cancer, a lot of people will point towards radon. They've had increased exposure over long periods of time. So in New Jersey, the legal level for radon is 4.0 picocuries or below. So if you test it and you have 3.9, right, it's fine as a seller. Legally, it's fine as a buyer. You can't dispute the radon if it's below 4. So, what can you do to prevent radon? If you own a home, put in a radon fan, because here's how radon works. I can test it today and have 0. I can test the same house, the same space 3 weeks later and have 10. So just put a radon fan in. As always, if you need a vendor, you can always reach out. My mobile is 609-773-8054. I'll tell you who you should talk to for radon. But again, if you're selling your home, put in a radon fan. If you're buying a home, obviously you want to test for radon. It's not that expensive in the context of a real estate transaction. I'm going to say it's $2,000 to $6,000, depending on the system or systems that have to be put in. And it's very easily fixed and very easily managed. But if you're thinking of selling, get a radon fan. If you bought a house and you didn't have radon in your test, put in a radon fan. So number 9, electric. Electric's a big deal. Obviously, right now I'm using electricity to talk to you. We're in the age of data centers, which is all the maybe rage. You could use the word on the internet because they use a lot of water, use a lot of energy. So having an up-to-date electrical grid in your house, townhouse, or condo is important, whether you're an owner or a soon-to-be occupant. So the top things that we see on home inspections that could derail a deal is 1, double tap breakers, right? So this is when wires are connected to a breaker designed for only one wire, when multiple wires. So missing GFCI protection. So in your bathroom or in your kitchen or anywhere there's water in your house, right, they put in circuit interrupters that allow the switch to trip right there. So if water gets in it, it clicks, it shuts down the electricity to that. It eliminates the risk of a spread to the rest of the house. So if you're in a home that doesn't have GFCI around the sink, get an electrician and put in GFCI around the sinks, plural. So, and again, the last one I would say we don't see it much anymore is knob and tube. Knob and tube is an old wiring system. It's probably 100 years old at this point. The wires were insulated, which becomes brittle. They were definitely not designed for today's electric load. They typically don't have grounding wire. Knob and tube of any electric issue is the biggest. because it's usually built behind the walls. The walls 100 years ago were probably plaster. So if you have knob and tube, right, it's an issue also with insurance. So an insurance company will say, yeah, it's a nice house, but we're not insuring it because it's got knob and tube. So as a seller, if you have knob and tube, you want to make sure that you can pass your insurance to your buyer. You want to make sure that it's as up to date as possible. And if you're a buyer, obviously do your due diligence on what knob and tube is and the potential costs to remediate it. Next is septic. So what's septic? Well, everybody goes to the bathroom, not to be graphic, and that waste is going somewhere, and it's going to go to one of two places in New Jersey. Septic is a private sewage system that's self-contained on your property. So what does that mean? Somebody goes to the bathroom, the water runs from your house to a field, right? And it gets processed in that field, underground field, by the way. We say field, but it's underground on your property, and it gets processed right there, right? And it's a wastewater treatment that's not connected to a public sewer. So again, it goes to a field, right? The solids settle to the bottom, oils flow to the top. The partially treated water then flows into a drain field where it's filtered away through the soil. So like environmentally, it's probably the best thing because the water stays locally. The issue is the fields have lifespans of 20 to 40 years or more if it's super well maintained. So the issue with a septic system is that it's expensive to replace. You're looking $30,000 to $60,000 for a septic system. So as a buyer, if you're buying a house with a septic, make sure you inspect it. As a seller, if your septic is over 20 to 25 years old, I would say plan on it becoming an issue at the inspection, right? Or just an issue attracting buyers. So, a strategy for a seller, you can offer a credit to a new system. My advice to a seller that has an older septic, price the replacement. Don't wait for the buyer to get there, do the inspection, find out it's super old, and then price it. It becomes emotional. So as a seller, get a couple septic companies, get a couple quotes, find out where it's at. So you're going into this and you can say, look, I'm willing to offer a credit of X towards a new septic if it's an issue. And it's probably going to be an issue, to be honest. So fireplaces, number 7, fireplaces are wonderful. I always say like the perfect day off, which we don't actually get in this business, is a day at the beach with a book in front of a fire on a rainy day, just a quiet day, which again, we don't get. We have PTSD from text messages in the real estate business. So the reason fireplaces are an issue is because components can deteriorate. Think about it. I heat it up with wood, right? Old fashioned fireplace. I heat it up. Hot air goes up in the chimney, goes through the flue. Fire goes out and it's wintertime. Then the bricks contract, right? The flues contract. So the liners can be terracotta. They can be, all these different things. So fireplaces as a seller, again, if you're selling your house, present it as is. I would do an inspection of it, right? But I would definitely present it as is. Buyers, be aware that it can cost significant money to get a fireplace functional, right? So if the seller says it's as is and you're a buyer and you're the only buyer on the house, it's not a multiple bid, right? You can negotiate it. You can say, look, I'll absorb the first $3,000 of a chimney repair, but you're responsible or we're going to negotiate the rest. So chimneys can be a pretty big ticket item. They tend to fail just because they deteriorate over time. The other reason they fail is that when they were built, the code was different, meaning the safety codes for whatever town it was in. The codes change over time. The chimneys don't. So it's almost like an automatic red flag. It's going to fail inspection, usually on one way or the other. I've had very few chimneys go through inspection without getting flagged. It's just a function of it was built in 1980, it's 2026. The code was different. Now it's different, right? And they used it consistently and it needs updating. Like it's just a function of life. It's kind of like your car. Number 6, sewer lines. So why are sewer lines important? Why is septic important? So a sewer line is when you're on public sewer. So your house is connected to the public sewer grid, which takes the water and the waste off of your property, puts it into a sewer line where it gets treated by the municipality. So it's the waste line from your house to the sewer system. So common issue though, more on the minor side, is a belly. So what's a belly? Let's pretend it's 30 feet of line from your front of your house to the sewer line at the curb, right? At foot 10, there was settling. So the 10-foot pipe going to the 20-foot pipe is a little bit lower, and water can hang out there because it's settled unevenly, if you will. So a belly, as they call it, is settling in the line. So what does that mean? There's a potential for backup. Doesn't mean it's a huge problem. Doesn't mean it can't be fixed, right? But a belly. Tree roots is a problem. So trees like water. Sewer lines are wastewater, but it's water. So tree roots are going to find their way into any metal pipe. So as a seller, let's go back to trees. If you plant a tree in your front yard right over your sewer line, eventually you're going to have tree roots in your sewer line. It just is what it is. It'll block your line. The waste will back up into your house, which is kind of gross. Bamboo also, by the way, is a big problem. We had a case where I think it was like 10 to 20 feet away. The bamboo grew underground from where it was on the edge of the property to the sewer line, right? Infested the sewer line, had to be taken out. So things you can do as a seller. A, as part of your maintenance plan, snake your lines regularly. Just run a cleaning mechanism down your line. So if there is any blockage, you just eliminate it. 2, right? Tree location matters. Don't put trees in your front yard over your sewer line. Everybody wants privacy from the curb. I get it, but just know where your sewer line is and plant the appropriate tree with the appropriate root length that far away from your sewer line. So those are things you can do. So buyers, obviously, when you inspect it, they will run literally a camera through the sewer line so you can see it. Sellers, just maintain it. It's just part of your maintenance of your home as you go. 5, mold. So mold's an interesting one. I just took a class on mold. Can't say it was the most exciting, but it is interesting. So mold is water, right? Or moisture, generally speaking, water. So if you have mold in your attic, you probably have a leaky roof, right? If you have mold in your attic and it's located around your chimney column, there's probably a leak between the roof and the chimney. If you have mold in your basement, water is coming in your basement from somewhere. So why is mold bad? It can cause respiratory issues. It can cause, in severe cases, neurological issues, right? Those are the more severe. Usually it's associated more with like asthma, stuff like that, but it can vary. And again, in the same room, one person can go in, right, and not be affected by the mold. Another person can go in and have a severe reaction to it. So it's something to look out for, right, as a buyer, right? And as a seller, if you see moisture in your basement, call someone, right? If you don't know who to call, text me 609-773-8054, describe the problem, and I'll send you the vendors that we recommend to deal with this stuff. So mold in a basement, you could have it could be grading. It could be your landscaper just putting too much stuff against the house. It's got to be moved. Could be tree roots. Could be the downspouts of your gutters have to be extended away from your house. There's multiple things that can happen in a basement, right? And as a seller, don't wait. Like if you're thinking of selling in 2 years, fix it now. Like just fix it over time, right? Structure. So structure, I put that here because obviously if you have water coming into your house from the basement, you're going to have a structure problem. So let's talk cracks. So everybody in the basement will see crack. It's inevitable, right? Usually what you'll see, and they're pretty innocuous, are vertical cracks, up and down cracks, right? It's just settling, right? Things shift. It's not a huge deal. And it does happen in every single house, including yours, if you're watching this, including your apartment. Settling just happens, right? Gravity gets us all. Horizontal cracks, when it goes left to right, those are the ones that are more likely to indicate a structural problem because they often result from pressure pushing against the wall. Water, dirt. So if your gutter is leaning against your house, the waistline from the gutter is against the house and it's running water down there, water's heavy, the dirt gets heavy, and you're going to have a bulge and you're going to get a crack. So you got to eliminate the bulge, you got to eliminate the crack, but you got to eliminate the source of the problem, right? So if you're a seller, just deal with it now. Don't wait till you put your house on the market to do regular expenses. So number 3, planning. So if you know you're going to sell your house next year, I'm moving to wherever, I'm downsizing, I'm staying in Princeton, I'm moving to North Carolina, going back to New York City, which we're seeing a lot right now. Do a home inspection today. Like right now, get a home inspector, inspect your house. Start fixing it. Get contractors out there, price it, fix it, etc. Right? Don't wait and give permission to the buyer to go through your house. That's just counterintuitive. That's number 1. Number 2, the wrong agent. really important here. This is not right or wrong, but you want to make sure that you're in alignment with your agent on what the plan is for home inspections. If you're a seller, you want to have a plan before you go to the market. If you're a buyer, you want to have a plan before you go to the market, right? That's number one. The other thing is too, like if you're going to fix your home as a seller, just start, like don't wait, right? Buyers like to relitigate the purchase process in home inspection. They pay X, they always feel they overpaid. Natural human reaction is fine. They're going to go after you on the home inspection. Okay, it is what it is. And again, the number one thing I will tell you about home inspection and issues is the house. Meaning, if you put the house on at a party price, right? If it's worth $10, you put it on at $940. You're going to have multiple bids. You're going to sell it for $1025. But as part of the bidding process, you can command the best terms. I just had a house. We had 7 offers. One of the buyers waived the home inspection in its entirety. They're still doing it for their own purposes, but it's not the seller's problem, right? So if you overprice it, you have less leverage. If you price it right, you have more leverage, right? If you're the buyer and you're the only bid, leave your home inspection as it is. If you're in a multiple bid, you're going to say structural only, sewer only, environmental, which includes mold. So you're going to limit the home inspection to the big stuff, right? So, the reality is when you think about what it takes to put a deal together, a big part of it is managing contingencies. These top things are contingencies that you can manage in advance. Again, if you ever have questions, you need a local contractor, please reach out. If you're thinking of selling, reach out now, plan ahead. If you're thinking of buying, let's sit down and have a strategy. That being said, thank you for tuning in. This is Josh Wilton, and this is the Wilton Report.